All right, everybody, welcome to episode 6 of Total Dragon, the show where we recap and review issues of the Savage Dragon and Savage Dragon related titles. My name is Mike, and today we are looking at the last issue of what I've been calling Director's Cut of the Savage Dragon miniseries. Originally a 3-issue miniseries. Now Erik Larsen brought it back, or at the time he brought it back, added some new material and stretched it out to 5. But hey, he did us a favor, and it was only $1. So this is going to be the last issue of the miniseries before we go to the ongoing. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this one and see how it wraps up. So here we go. When we last left Savage Dragon, he had fought Bedrock. Bedrock came to Chicago, wanted to see what the dragon was made of, if possibly he could join Youngblood. The dragon says, "Look, kid, this isn't a comic book. We just don't fight for the hell of it around here. You're going to jail." We open up, Bedrock's in jail. He's thinking about busting out. Then he realizes, I'm better than that. And hey, look at that. 4 fingers. Solves that problem. So we cut to this next page. There's a young lady in distress sitting in front of Savage Dragon's apartment. This is Debbie, who we met a couple issues ago, who was walking around and introduced herself to Dragon. And she's telling Dragon her and her mom have been having problems. And she has the nerve to ask Dragon, "Can I sleep on your couch?" Dragon thinks better of it, and he goes, "I need to talk to your mom about this. I don't think this is right." So she gives him a sad look. Dragon, he melts. He lets her in. Not cool, man. Very not cool. But, one thing about this is we've noticed that the dragon, the ladies love him. I mean, he's had girls and ladies talk to him in every issue. They've been flirting with him. It's got to be the fin. Chicks dig the fin, I suppose. So we pick up with Youngblood. They've come and picked Bedrock out of jail, taking him back to wherever their headquarters is, and they're telling him, you just can't go around fighting people, dude. Pick up on Frank. Frank's phone rings in the middle of the night, and that is never good. And on the phone, you can tell that whoever's on the other line seems like it's somebody from the Vicious Circle, letting Frank know that, hey, you're responsible for what happened. We know that you're the one who fed us the tip about Fred's warehouse. And looks like Frank used that knowledge to get Dragon involved and put him on the force at the expense of Fred's life. So Frank's got that hanging over his head now, which we all knew he'd been acting kind of squirrely, and now we find out what it was. So then we see who's the one that was doing the phone call. It's this bone-faced guy, Skullface, him and Overlord. They're the ones who are starting this plot against Frank. And Frank, all of a sudden, he knows that the jig is up. And this is not going to end well for him. Cut back to Dragon and Debbie. No words, just looks exchanged. Passion embrace. Looks like clothes are coming off. Uh-oh. Looks like Dragon kind of has a little bit of remorse or regret right here for what he did. Now we see she's living there. It's the next morning. Might have been a couple days have passed. I'm not sure. Could be the next morning, but she does say, "Have I told you how lately I'm crazy about you? Have I told you lately how crazy I am about you?" So there's kind of something there that lets us know that as time's kind of progressed and they've officially become like a couple. She says that if he grew a mustache, he'd look like an incredible hunk. I think you're getting me confused with someone else. Now, scat. Obviously, that's a reference to the Incredible Hulk. And I think, him saying you're getting me confused with someone else kind of also alludes to the beef that Peter David and Larson had. Which, if you ever want to find some good comic book history footnote, you can read up on that. Erik Larsen versus Peter David. So Debbie's kind of making herself at home. And then look who this is. Some long-haired famous fellow. We've seen someone with long hair in the past in this book that was wearing a mask and shooting stars out of his arm. Any coincidence? Yeah, we'll see. Debbie's back to making herself at home in Dragon's apartment. Someone's knocking at the door. And Dragon's like, "Hey, well, why don't you get that? I know you're not wearing any clothes and we're just wearing a wife beater. Why don't you go to the door?" Debbie goes to the door. Blah. Jesus, what? Debbie's just been taken out. Then the shooter takes himself out, and the Dragon is just totally distraught. Can't believe it happened. Then we've got this funeral scene here where Debbie's mom is just wailing on Dragon's chest, blaming him. Kind of like the scene from Jaws where the mom slaps the sheriff. Dragon's decided to crawl up into a bottle right here, a bottle of rot gut whiskey. Just drown his sorrows. Cut to another page here. Kind of like a double page shot of Johnny Redbeard's Next Men, which is a reference to John Byrne's team, the Next Men. Basically, they're all telling Dragon how much we hate ourselves now, thanks to our crappy creator. And Dragon just tells them, "Look, everyone's got a sob story. You guys are under the rest." So they decide to get the hell out of here. Look at Dragon, 5 o'clock shadow. He's got the Fu Manchu going on right here. Frank comes to his house. "We need to talk." Let's try and get both pages in here. Dragon's basically just telling Frank right now, I got a lot of stuff going on, man, right now. I'm working a lot of hours. I'm getting a bunch of lawsuits. Watched the girl that was at my apartment got shot in the head and died. I can't handle all this stuff right now, man. I got a lot going on. I'm fighting basically 24/7 against the vicious circle. Can't seem to make any headway. He's just lamenting that he's burnt out, man. Burnt out, That's not good. He's only been on the job for 5 issues. Not a good look. Frank tells him again for like the millionth time, "We need you. Chicago needs you." And you could tell Frank came to the Dragon's apartment and was going to spill the beans about what happened with his cousin or his brother in the warehouse situation. But Dragon, he's falling apart. He's letting Frank know, "I'm losing it, man. This is way more harder than I thought it was going to be." And Frank just can't bring himself to bring it up right now. So we end with Savage Dragon in his apartment with the lights out, wallowing in depression. Then he's at Debbie's grave. And then that is going to bring an end to it. Then we have a quick recap of all the covers that they had in the original 3-issue miniseries. I don't know which was my favorite. Probably the first one. Probably the first one was my favorite. 1, 2, and then 3 in my order of favorites. Then we're back to a text page again. And then Larson kind of giving us a little bit of inside stuff about what's happened. He talks about Image Zero and the huge delay that there was with getting that book out. Then he says, by the time he goes to cover my butt, I arranged to have it reprinted in the Savage Dragon trade paperback just 1 month before I launched the regular series. As it turned out, I actually saw print there first, and Image Zero was the reprint. And then he tells us that a couple of those pages right here was stuff that he decided to not put into the miniseries at first. That's probably the burnout stuff that we were looking at. That's the stuff that's in the trade paperback. Look at that, man. 25 years since I first drew a character called the Dragon. It's so awesome, man. Guy just loves comic books, dude. Loves comic books. So then he kind of talks a little bit about some of the smaller companies he worked with. All the different publishers that Dragon saw, the small companies that he was working with before he got to Image, doing issues here and there. And then he's got this one-shot story right here from 1984. I was a whopping 8 years old. So this, obviously, he lets us know on that last page that this isn't, not canon. Obviously it's not canon. It's Dragon and his wife and their kid. And they're just talking about they want to spend a day just chilling out, watching cartoon Scooby-Doo. Just a fun little comic book right here. Slice of life. Them just hanging out. And that's it. That wraps up. And then, as always, very last page, I add for Ninja Turtles and the Dragon, a couple of the Dragon characters. Oh, I just noticed that there's only 3 Ninja Turtles. Where's Leonardo at? So that's the last issue right there, and that gets us all up to speed before the ongoing takes off. So what we will do right now is we're going to go ahead and call this a wrap. And then next episode, I think I'm going to talk a little bit about overall how the last, how these 5 issues went, what Erik Larsen did good, as opposed to, the other Image creators at the time where he had a leg up. And I always got, look at that nightstick right there. Nightstick's got a little bit of blood on it from cracking some skulls. Where he had the leg up and some of the things that he worked on versus what some of the other Image guys at the time were working on, and how their releases kind of diverged a little bit. So that's going to be it for today. And as always, thanks a lot, and everyone take care. Later.